Have you ever been in the middle of a project? Maybe an art project or something at work or I don't know, even cooking dinner. And you feel like you are just deep in the shit. You feel like it's everything is a disaster around you. Nothing looks like what you want it to. And you just melt down. I learned that there's a term for that today, and it's called the messy middle. If you've ever heard that term before, then I would love to hear about where you heard it from. And maybe you call it something different, but it's this idea that when we're in the process of creating, that there's this part that gets really gooey and like formless and messy. I think I know that I've encountered this a lot, especially as an artist and in my paintings, that there's just like this part. I feel like I was talking to my sister about this not too long ago, but there's this like part where you're in the middle of it and you're like, I fucking hate this. This looks like shit. And it's so funny because it never stays there very long. I'm always kind of move through it. I feel like sometimes when I have this like image of a writer, right? It's like keeps, writes a line and it's like, oh, that doesn't work. Tosses it, right? And starts writing again. And then, oh, I fucking hate that. Right? And then before they know it, they got like 20 different balls of paper behind them. I think that there's a part of us that thinks the messy middle is wrong, or that we are wrong or broken for being in the messy middle. I think we've created such a perfectionist society, an idea that we have to be and have the thing like clean and spotless and like really it's got to be spot on from the beginning. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by doing that because we're not allowing ourselves to grow through that messy part. Growth is messy. Creation is messy. Have you taken a look outside at nature? Like when seeds are exploding, right? Like plants are exploding from seeds, like that's messy. It's got to push up from the ground. That's messy business. Have you ever seen birth? It's messy. My point is that I think for some reason we don't give ourselves enough space and credit when we're in the messy parts. I know I am in this right now. I am in the middle of I am in the messy middle of writing. Right now I'm working on a book proposal that I'm submitting to a major publishing company here very, very soon. And I had this moment yesterday where I was just like, oh, this is all wrong. I'm doing it wrong. My ideas keep forming as I'm writing, and so I have to keep going back into my proposal and changing what I wrote before, or at least like using different terminology. And for some reason, I like sat there and I was like, this is wrong. I'm doing it wrong. This is never going to happen. And I had to take a step back and realize that this is normal, actually, because I experience this as when I'm painting. So why would writing a book be any different? I don't know why. I don't know why I thought it would be different, but it's not. Because this is the quality of creation. Creation gets messy in the middle. Right? When we start off, sometimes it's just like little threads, right? It's just one brushstroke on a canvas, or it's just one sentence on a page. Right? It doesn't have time to form, and it's it's just like an idea or a concept. And then as we start to get our fingers in it, I was thinking about like a potter who's like molding the clay and with like clay all over their hands, and it doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look like a cup or anything. It just looks like a blob of clay and mess. And I realized that in order for me to allow space for myself to grow as a writer and for this project to grow, I have to give it the space to be messy. I love that I got to hear that this morning. So it was Brendan Bouchard that talked about the messy middle this morning, and I'm really glad that I got to hear that message from him. I'm always grateful for his insights because it was super applicable to me today, and I hope that this also is applicable for you today too. If you are in the messy middle, I and you're feeling like things are just not going right, you know, you've gotten things started but you're not at the finish line, I want you to remember that this is a part of the process. And you're not faulty, right? You're not broken or you're not wrong for being messy in it. It's gonna get sticky. It's gonna get kind of gross looking. Clean out a Tupperware cabinet, and you'll know when you're sitting in the middle of Tupperware lids and containers everywhere in your kitchen that there is a middle, and it is not sightly. But it's a part of the process, and so you have to trust the process. So if you're there in that space, trust the process of creation. We have examples of it everywhere, and we are no exception. Our projects that we birth are no exception. They have and are subject to the laws of creation, of the laws of nature. So bring that in and realize you're not wrong for being messy. Trust the process and just take the next step that will get you moving. Don't stop. That's what we often do is we have to get to the messy middle and then we chuck it. We say, oh, this is all wrong. I'm all wrong. And we just fucking toss it aside like that man who's like keeps throwing the papers behind him. Let the idea be messy for a minute. And understand that you know, go back to your plan. Go back to the reason why you started it in the first place. Go back to that space and then take the next step. For me, that means moving my body for 20 minutes and then going and sitting down and writing. One chapter summary at a time. One sentence at a time. Because that's what I can do. And eventually, I'll be out of that messy middle and it'll be closer to the finish line and I can see it. I'm just not there yet. So keep remembering that this is the game and it's okay. And you don't have to be perfect, especially in the middle. Like, you don't have to be perfect anytime, but definitely in the middle. Let yourself be in the place that you are. I love you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.